Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm Kerry. Today I'll be showing you how to crochet this little teddy to sit in the plane for our plane mobile. This video is sponsored by American Yarn, a yarn store in Melbourne who supplied the yarn I needed for the plane and the teddy. I'll have a link in the description below to their website. They ship to Australia and New Zealand. Now the yarn I'll be using for the teddy is Red Heart Soft White, and I'll use a tiny bit of Red Heart Soft Really Red for the scarf. This yarn was supplied by American Yarn. As well as the Red Heart Soft yarn, I've got 4-ply crochet cotton in pink and black to crochet the eyes and the inner ears, but you could embroider them on if you'd prefer. I've got a 2.5mm crochet hook to crochet the yarn. I've got scissors, a darning needle to weave in ends. I've got a 1.25mm crochet hook to crochet the 4-ply crochet cotton. I've got a sewing needle and thread to stitch the eyes and inner ears on, and also to embroider on a nose and a mouth and the white dots on the eyes. And I've got some filling for the inside of the teddy bear. Now we'll start on the teddy. We begin on the head, and the front and the back of the teddy are worked the same, so we'll be working 2 lots of body. So we start with a magic loop. For a magic loop we put our hook on our yarn and bring the short end over the hook, and then take the long end over the short end to make a circle. Put the yarn around the hook and bring the hook with the yarn in through the circle, and that's a magic loop or a magic circle. Then we work 1 chain and work 14 half double crochet into our circle. A half double crochet is called a half treble in the UK. For a half double crochet we put the yarn around the hook, hook in through the circle and bring back a loop, yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn through all the loops. And that's our first half double crochet. We need 13 more. I've worked my 14 half double crochet. Now I pull the circle tight. So I take hold of the tail and just ease the circle in as tight as I can. I'm not very good at pulling my circle in, so I'll need to pull it in tighter when I weave in my ends. And then I slip stitch in the top of the first stitch. So this stitch here, I put my hook into the stitch and bring through a loop and take the loop straight through the loop on my hook. For row 2 we start with 1 chain and work 1 half double crochet in the same place as the chain, and then we work 2 half double crochet into each stitch around our circle. So I'll continue working 2 half double crochet into each stitch, and I'll meet you near the end of the row. Now I've worked 2 half double crochet in each stitch round. Now I join with a slip stitch in the top of the first stitch. Now we're going to work the first ear. We start with one chain, and into the same place as the chain we work one single crochet. A single crochet is called a double crochet in the UK. We put our hook into the stitch and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook and take our hook with the yarn through both loops. Then we work a half double crochet into the same stitch, and then we work a double crochet into the same stitch. A double crochet is called a treble in the UK. For a double crochet we put the yarn around the hook, hook in to that same stitch and bring through a loop, yarn around the hook, hook and yarn through two loops, yarn around the hook, hook and yarn through two loops. And then into the next stitch we work one double crochet, one half double crochet, and a slip stitch. So we've got a little curved ear and we fasten off. For the second ear we miss 4 stitches and we join our yarn in the next stitch and work one chain, work a single crochet, a half double crochet and a double crochet in the same stitch. So a single crochet, a half double crochet and a double crochet in the same stitch, and then into the next stitch we work a double crochet, a half double crochet and a slip stitch. So a double crochet, a half double crochet and a slip stitch, and we fasten off. And that's the head done. I'll weave in my ends so they're not flapping around while I crochet the body. Now for the body we find our centre stitch and then join our yarn back one stitch. And work 2 chain. Then we work a half double crochet in the same stitch as the chain and one half double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. For row 2 we start with 2 chain and turn our work, and we work 2 half double crochet in the first stitch, 1 half double crochet into the next stitch and 2 half double crochet into our last stitch. For row 3 we start with 2 chain and turn. We work 2 half double crochet into the first stitch, 1 half double crochet into each stitch to the last stitch, and work 2 half double crochet into the last stitch. For row 4 we start with 2 chain and turn, and we work 1 half double crochet into each stitch. For row 5, we start with 2 chain and turn and work 1 half double crochet into each stitch. And for row 6 is work the same, 2 chain and turn and 1 half double crochet into each stitch. And that's the body finished. We start on the first leg now. We start with 2 chain and work 1 half double crochet into each of the first 3 stitches. For row 2, we start with 2 chain and turn and work 1 half double crochet into each stitch. For row 3, we start with 2 chain and turn and work 1 half double crochet into each stitch. And for row 4, we start with 2 chain and turn and work a half double crochet cluster over our 3 stitches. For a half double crochet cluster, we put the yarn around the hook, hook into the first stitch and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, hook into the last stitch and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook and take our hook and yarn through all the loops and fasten off. And that's the first leg done. For the second leg, we miss 1 stitch and join our yarn in the following stitch. And work 2 chain. We work a half double crochet into the same stitch as the chain, and then work 1 half double crochet into each of the last 2 stitches. Then we work 2 chain and turn and work 2 rows of 1 half double crochet into each stitch. I'm starting my second row of 2 chain and 1 half double crochet into each stitch. And for row 4, we start with 2 chain and turn, and we work a half double crochet cluster over our 3 stitches. And fasten off. Now I'll weave in my ends and I'll be back and we'll crochet on the arms. We'll start on the bear's right arm first, this one here. So we join our yarn at the top of row 2, so just in here, not far from the neck, about 1 row down, and we work 2 chain, and then we work 1 half double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. For row 2 we start with 2 chain and turn and work 1 half double crochet into each of our 2 stitches. For row 3 we start with 2 chain and turn and work 1 half double crochet into each of our 2 stitches. For row 3 we start with 2 chain and turn and we work a joined half double crochet over both our stitches. For a joined half double crochet we put our yarn around the hook, hook into the first stitch and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn through all the loops and fasten off. For the bear's left arm we join across from the bottom of the right arm, so just go across and join in there. And the second arm is worked the same. Start with 2 chain and work 1 half double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. For row 2 and 3 we start with 2 chain and turn and work 1 half double crochet into each stitch. And I'm starting on row 3, 2 chain and 1 half double crochet into each stitch. And for row 4 we start with 2 chain and turn and work a joined half double crochet over both stitches. And fasten off. And there's the bear finished. Now for the muzzle we only need 1. We start with a magic loop and work 1 chain and work 9 half double crochet into our circle. We pull the circle tight and slip stitch in the top of the first stitch. and fasten off. Now for the eyes, we'll need 2 eyes. I'm using my 1.25mm crochet hook and 4-ply crochet cotton. You could embroider the eyes on if you'd prefer. So I make a magic loop, work 1 chain and work 4 single crochet into my circle. I pull the circle tight and slip stitch in the top of the first stitch. And fasten off. And I've got a small circle. And I'll need another eye, so make a magic loop and work 1 chain and work 4 single crochet into the circle. Pull the circle tight and slip stitch in the top of the first stitch. And fasten off. For the inner ears, using my 1.25mm crochet hook and my pink 4-ply crochet cotton, I make a magic loop and work 1 chain and work 4 single crochet into the circle. I pull the circle tight and fasten off. I don't join for the ears. You could embroider the ears on too if you'd prefer. And I've got a little half circle. And I need another one, so I make a magic loop and work 1 chain and 4 single crochet into my circle. Pull the circle tight and fasten off. The last thing I'll do is make the scarf. So using my red and my 2.5mm crochet hook, I'll work 42 chain I miss the first 2 chain and work 1 half double crochet into each chain to the end. I've really enjoyed working with this Red Heart soft yarn. It doesn't split like some of the others, and a lot of thicker wools are very difficult for me to work with my arthritis, but this one I've had no problems at all. So I'll continue working 1/2 double crochet into each stitch to the end, and I'll be back when I get near the end. Once you've done a 1/2 double crochet into each chain, you fasten off. Now I'll just make another teddy's body like this, and I'll weave in my ends, and then we'll be back to put it together. Now here's all my pieces: 2 bodies, 2 inner ears, 2 eyes, 1 muzzle and 1 scarf. The first things I'll do is embroider the nose and mouth onto the muzzle and embroider a white dot onto each of the eyes. Now the next thing I'll do is attach the muzzle. The top goes just over the centre circle of the head, and then I'll attach the eyes, just each side of the muzzle, touching the muzzle, and I'll attach the inner ears. They just go evenly at the top there. So I'll attach all those and I'll be back. Now the next thing I do is stitch the front and back bare pieces together. I put the wrong sides together and then I just stitch right around. I insert the filling as I go. There's not much room in the neck to insert the filling once you've finished, so I'll go up around the arms and around the head and insert some filling, and then once I get into the arm I'll completely fill the head, and then I go around the arms and then down around the first leg, and I will insert some filling in the first leg, and as I finish the other leg I'll insert more filling into the second leg, and I don't put as much filling into the stomach so that the bear will bend when it sits in the plane. And once I finish stitching around it, I put a row of stitching across the tummy, which makes the bear bend to be able to sit in the plane. If you weren't choosing your bear to sit in the plane, you wouldn't stitch across the stomach. So I'll stitch around till I get right around, and I'll be back and then I'll show you the stitching across the stomach. I've stitched right around the teddy. If the teddy wasn't going to sit in the plane, you'd leave it at that stage, but to make it be able to sit better, you just stitch through both the front and the back. Pull quite tight right along the back, and then I stitch back across again through the stitches that weren't stitched through on the first row. So I'll just stitch back across and fasten off, and I'll be back to show you the finished teddy. And there's the finished teddy. I just need to wrap the scarf around its neck and sit it in the plane. And I've also made the plane and teddies in 3 other colours. If you like my video, please like, subscribe and share. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest and Twitter. The details are in the description below, along with the details of my website where I have my patterns, the details of my Facebook group and the details of American Yarn, who sponsored this video. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.